All right. I think we're on.
We're ready.
Okay, so we're streaming. Please, let me just double check um to see that we are, just to be on the, okay. Let's see if anyone is on. Okay, so we're live streaming. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to Wake the Nation. And today's Wake the Nation, where we know we celebrated Fathers this month, earlier this month, and so we're supposed to have a male guest to come and speak about fathering, how fathers can help sons become more productive in society, and also to speak to young fathers in becoming adept at fathering. However, I'm not sure what's happening, but here we are, my co-host, Reverend uh, Thais Love, and another sister with from CDOF, Carmel, anxiety, depression, wellness. Um, she'll get it for me. I I
It's
know,
hot. It's hot.
it's Carmel. Yes, it really is. But God is covering us. He's given us some grace, so we're gonna get
Amen.
through this. Uh, and as some of you had seen that on Thursday, I did a FYI video where I gave information about free programs and other programs that are coming up for the summer, and among them is one that is being sponsored by CEDOF, which is in collaboration with the Cartel U Library. We did one last year. It was very successful. And this year we're doing it again. And of course, we have Reverend Love, who's going to be hosting the workshop on grief. And, you should really tune in. Listen, every day you hear someone say they've lost someone.
Yes.
That is to death. But there's also grief when you lose a job. There's also grief when you when you have a divorce. There's also grief, when you have to move out of your home. And so we need to address these issues and being mentally well. We need to be mentally well because we see what happens. It causes society to erode when we're not mentally well. If we're not mentally well, we're not physically well, we don't take care of our families, we don't want to take care of our accounts, we don't want to do anything. If you've ever been someone who suffered from depression, there are some functioning folks, but there are those. I remembered someone telling me that her sister literally had to break her door down to get to her. And when she got into her home, she was in the bed. And when I tell you, she never got out of her bed for 2 weeks. So you can just imagine the state she was in. She got her out of the bed, she washed her, got her dressed, and took her to the hospital. So sometimes for some folks, it gets very, very dark. It takes them down. So there will be clinicians, there will be others to talk about different topics, and of course there will be a reception at the end, and there will be. Last year we painted and wrote and drew our feelings and then discuss them. And that was a beautiful moment. This year is going to be a different surprise. And I'll let the CEO and founder of CDOF tell you more about it. But as I said, we were talking about fathering, and we're still waiting to see if Rev he can make it. But in case he doesn't, um, I just want to say, and then I'm gonna turn it over to my co-host to say something as well, because we're mothers. We've been married. We are married. We have children and grandchildren, and so we have seen where fathers, effective fathers, and we've also known about the fathers who are not effective at all, right? But they do still play a role in their children's life. We live in a society where, um, in some cultures, uh, where many children are being raised without fathers, right?
Yes.
And so maybe because their father has died. In some cases, their father is imprisoned. In other cases, they don't know their fathers. From the time the mother got pregnant, whether they were married or unmarried, the father just up and left. And that happens. But I am grateful for the fathers who step in place, for the fathers who take responsibility of their children, not just siring a child and say, there are men who will boast, oh, I have 10 children. Don't know if their children are eating, don't know if their children are being taken disadvantage of, don't know anything. Don't know that the children probably hate them. Don't know anything, right? But the thing that I have found is that when fathers remain in a child's life, or if someone steps in to take the role of being that patriarchal figure in a child's life, it makes a big difference. Um, I think back to how the slaves, how they lived their lives, and the fathers were very present. And even though they were enslaved, just having the father around made a big difference. The only thing is, unfortunately, some of the slave owners would either sell them or kill them, right? So we know that that happened. But there were fathers. Now, fathering is not an easy job, and there are no perfect fathers, just like there are no perfect mothers. However, all we can do as parents is do the best we can. And we're not without a manual. We do have a Bible. And whether you're a Christian or not, it's good to read the Proverbs and see, really, it can help you. It's the book of wisdom. Now, I just want to discuss a little bit, and I'm not going into it in details, but fathers who kind of sort of like failed and kind of sort of didn't, right? We have David, who had many children, and we see when he did not discipline his sons, or he just had the kids. He had the kids. One of his son raped his own daughter, and he didn't discipline him. So the two brothers decided to kill that brother, right? So we see where there were issues there. We also, in Luke, in the book of Luke 15, we see a father who, even though his child disrespected him, and sometimes you do have those children who disrespect their fathers just want to take their heads off. But this father just decided to love his son anyway. And then you see a brother who felt as if he was left out because the father was pining after the brother who left. And so, based on that, I just want to say to fathers, instead of favoring, and we also have the story of Joseph, whose father favored him and his brother Benjamin because the wife he loved gave birth to them, right? So we saw that. And we saw that that almost ended up, God turned it around for good, but we saw where the brothers hated them to the point where they wanted to kill them, the older brothers, that is. So I want to say to fathers, instead of favoring one child over another, find out what you have in common with all of your children and spend time with them. As a mother, I did that, and I'm sure it will work for fathers as well, right, ladies? I've seen it, right? Um,
Yes.
we just have to find what each child, they're an artist. Oh, that part, I connect with that part. They're this, I connect with this part, and do things like if the child loves baseball, some might love fishing, some might want to just go to the park, some might just want to talk, some might just want to hear, as long as you're spending time with your child, it's essential. it's good to co-parent if you and the mother are not married, you've been divorced, or you've never ever been married, but the child is yours. A part of the DNA that makes that child is from you. So, you know, sometimes we have to look past the disagreements that adults have for the benefit of the child or children. I also want to say discipline your children in love. And don't tell your child if they're bad behaving that you're just like your dad, your mother, right? Because you don't get along. Um, Pay attention to your child and see who your child is, and also see yourself in your child, because part of who they're displaying is also you. So, um, don't take for granted the feelings of your children when they're well behaved. Sometimes fathers and parents in general have children, and the ones who act out are the ones we'll pay attention to. But the ones who are well behaved go under the radar. Don't ever do that, because that child can be struggling with issues that you have no idea about. Sometimes, and I remember there was a child who took his life, and he was considered to be the good child, but he was the child who was suffering the most. So don't ever take for granted the feelings of your children, especially when they're well behaved. As much attention as you pay to the ill-behaved one, or the one who's acting out, and many times they're acting out because they don't know how to fully express themselves. There is an issue that needs to be discussed. So if you spend time with them, it can be addressed. And if they need counseling, please, for the love of Jesus, get counseling. Sometimes you just need to do that for your children. Don't teach your children how to be entitled and ungrateful, but teach them how to be appreciative and grateful. In this society, there are a lot of kids that are entitled and ungrateful, and it's doing nobody any good. I want you fathers to think of something. You became a man, and now you sired a child or children. Think about your children. At some stage of the game, they're going to become an adult. And please prepare them to be an adult that is accountable, an adult with integrity, an adult that is functioning as one. And then finally, I'll say what I said before, just spend time with your children, child or children, get to know them, who they are, and allow them to get to know you. I think we'd have a better, more productive society. So that's my take on fathering, even though I'm a mother. All right. And so now I turn it over to my co-host. This is Thais Love, and she's a therapist as well. And she wears many hats. So I'll just go ahead. Unmute, 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 unmute.
Hello? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Reverend Chang-Ageda, and thank you for um, those words, those pearls of wisdom, and for your commentary as a mother of even sons,
Yes.
daughter,
Yes.
for sharing your wisdom. Um, I too am a mother of sons.
All sons.
Yeah, all
A
sons.
grandmother of granddaughters now, right? And grandsons.
Grandmother of grandsons and granddaughters. And so two of my sons are now fathers. And we talk all of the time about um, fatherhood and um, parenting. We talk very often about that because now that I'm a grandma, I get to share some of my experiences being a parent with my sons who are now parents as well. And um, because due to divorce, um, I was married to their father, and now I'm not, and I've since remarried. And my sons have grown up um, knowing their dad, and um, the input of him, as well as having a stepfather and the input and impact from him. And so uh, my sons and I will speak very often about the, how that has played a role in their lives as men and as husbands and as fathers. And they speak about it often. And what my sons share with me is that they've learned what to do as a dad. They've also learned what not to do. And so they are grateful for all of the experiences that they have received from the men in their lives, particularly um, from both their father and stepfather. One of my sons um, is not only a dad, but he's a stepdad as well. And he talks very often about how easy it is for him to um, love and embrace and nurture his bonus son because of the love and nurture that he received um, as a bonus son himself from his stepfather. And so, it we growing up, even, we take from we glean from the experiences that we had growing up. We glean from the experiences of our parents, things that we saw, things that we lived through, and we make choices. And all of that plays a role in how we choose to parent, whether or not we want to parent. It even plays a role in how we grandparent as well. But uh, fatherhood is essential. Um, Studies show that in this country, 71% of children are growing up without father.
That's
Oh,
a very high percentage.
very high, very, very high percentage. And that is according to the statistical data gleaned from the uh, census information of 2022.
Wow. Mm.
71%. Okay. And then that pans out to roughly it's 3 million children. I'm talking about in this country, and that pans out to be one out of every four children. So if you're, you know, at a school and you're looking at all of these children in that school, one out of every four of them are growing up without a father figure, growing up without their father, period. Um, there are a lot of reasons for that. Um, but studies also show that children who grow up without a father figure in their lives tend to test poorly in academics, have trouble reading, um, struggle with math, um, and are more likely to drop out of high school. Um, Children who grow up without their father or without a father figure, also studies show, tend to grow up with a perceived notion or perceived feelings of abandonment. They grow up harboring resentment and anger, extra resentment and anger, um, stemming from the fact that they grew up or had to grow up without a father figure in their lives. And so um, these statistics show the great impact on children that grow up in single um, female households, um, and the children that grow up without their dads or without the father figures in their lives for different reasons. And so after, reading those statistics, it caused me to um, wonder, like, because at first I was looking at what is the impact on males or fathers that grew up without their dads. I was looking for that statistical information, and I found out that it fathers growing up without their dads are heavily impacted, but also so are mothers. So are mothers, and so when I thought about it, you have both male and female children growing up without their fathers or a father figure in their lives. That dramatically impacts upon them when they become parents, if they become parents. And then I didn't look at the statistical data, but I'm curious to um, see if there's a difference, because the studies are showing that there is a difference between the impact that a mother experiences growing up without a father figure, as opposed to the impact that a father experiences without growing up without having grown up without a father figure. Um, Obviously, there are still children being born, so that means that mommies and daddies are still getting together to form these children, but something is happening where mommy is there and daddy is not. And it needs to be looked at in more depth.
Well,
And so,
Reverend, just to interject a little bit, mommy's always, for the most part, will be there. It's rare when a mom is not there, right? That is a rarity because she's always left with the responsibility when a father abandons his responsibility as protector, provider, teacher, right? The mother has to take on that role. She
right,
has to take on that role. And sometimes, as you said, it does affect adult mothers who have grown up in a house without their father, because there are times when, because their mother has to take on the role to go out and earn, that as if the daughters are older, they then become the mother. They take on the role of being there to protect the child, being there to feed the child, being there to make sure the child well-being is being. So it really does affect in a different way.
yes,
It impacts and I've met adults, females, who said, I never want to have a child. But
right,
when you get older without a child, then you're thinking, well, what am I going to do? Who am I leaving my inheritance to? Who's there to carry on? But when you are affected that way, and you had to parent children that you did not give birth to, it becomes difficult. So that's one of the, and I'm glad you brought that up so that fathers can see, and for those fathers who are on here or who will see later on, to know that, especially if you're a younger person, to like just no matter what, never do that to your child, no matter whether they're female or male, knowing that what happens. I see too many female children too, just as you said, being affected more so, just not having that father figure in the home. And sometimes when the mothers bring in the boyfriends, and then the abuse that takes place. So there's a lot for fathers to consider. And I say, young men out there and those who haven't yet sired anyone, think about it. Seriously, think about it. Because there's a great responsibility for the role of a father and the lives that will be affected if you're not there, if you choose not to be there. It's one thing, God forbid anything, and I pray long, healthy lives. But when you walk away from your responsibility and that child knows, wait, you either started a new family or you just walked away, it makes a big difference. And as Reverend Love says, the mother then um, takes on your role, and that puts pressure on the kids as well.
in a different way. Yeah. And then I talked about the perceived abandonment by by the child, and the harbored resentment and anger and distrust. Um, those feelings, that child develops those kind of feelings and carries those kind of feelings all the way into their adult life. And perhaps some of that impacts um, male children in a certain kind of way when they grow up to be men, in terms of taking on the role of a father or becoming a father, or um, after they become a father, whether or not they're going to stick around. Because when they leave, they just repeat the cycle all over again. And, you know, that's something, as you said, Reverend, that needs to be considered. Um, Now, the studies did not go into why there are so many fathers MIA, didn't go into that.
It doesn't need to.
Right. But there is something to that.
Mhm.
Um,
That's a
What
lot.
the father went MIA by choice, or maybe he was boxed out.
Mm.
Uh, Many women, once they become mothers, if they're not in the relationship with the father of their child any longer, or even if they are in the relationship still with the father of their child, many um, women decide, I'm the only parent that this child's going to have. And they will do things, to quote unquote protect their child, from abandonment, maybe from becoming disappointed, so they will, step into that father role and mother role and kind of box the father out, not giving him a chance to operate in that role, simply because that mother she may have grown up without her father, so she is not even familiar with what it would be like uh, to actually have a father for her children's life.
Mm. But
She's like, well, I grew up without a dad, and that's okay for me. So, I'm just gonna do what I seen my mom do. Not really understanding what the dynamics of the relationship between the mom and the dad, and why the dad was not there, or what have you. You
right.
know, that young mother or that mother just decides, you know what, I'm pregnant, I'm the parent, I'm the only parent, and so they don't allow the dads to be a dad, or they don't even check to see if the dad wants to be a dad. Many of them keep the pregnancy to themselves. They don't even let the guy know, you know, that they've sired a child, and then uh, I know in New York State, a lot of the parental laws are slightly slanted in favor of the mother. So
But
those,
but may I say something? But they
so
will also notify the fathers. They it's I think in New York State too, they do because remember, if you have a child, right? You have to get like if you want to get a passport for your child, you have to get the father's signature. So I think in some kind of sort of way that maybe, but I just want to say that, and I understand there really are mothers who do that. But if a father knows that I'm with this person and they have a child, then they should, if you really care, you would try to find out. And even if she's trying to box you out when the child is younger, when the child gets older, unless you're like a criminal maybe and she's protecting your child from that person. But if you're a good-hearted person and you want to care for your child, you can.
well, many women, uh, once they become pregnant, especially when they're young women, young mothers, once they become pregnant, um, that pregnancy, giving birth to that child, becomes a key to some financial independence.
Mm.
So once they, become pregnant, and they get social service benefits, and they
Oh,
get more of a social service benefit if they
okay.
cannot locate the father. So many of these
I got
mothers
you.
will, pretend like they can't find the father, just so that they can get the benefits,
Okay.
uh, the financial benefits, and things of that nature, uh, for themselves and for their children. And that also boxes the father out.
Got you.
Father, he might be, you know, aware that he has a child, and because the mother wanted to get an apartment that she can afford by herself, you know, um, she may not allow the father to, be on the lease of that apartment, because if he is working and everything, that's going to carry the rent up. So she won't let him be on the lease of that apartment. She, pretends like she doesn't know where he is so that she can get other social benefits and everything. And those kinds of things literally box the father out. And so the father then has to decide, do I want to, fight for my rights, blow the whistle on the mother of my child who's benefiting financially, and because of my reported absence, or do I, you know, just sit back and hope that, you know, I could be there for my child in ways that maybe the mother might let me be there. So the father is there, but he's not there on paper, you know, he's not there in writing, he's not there legally, you know, and so his interaction with the child and his parenting is even limited, you know, so it looks like he's not there. When many fathers are there, it's just that because they came into agreement with the mother, look, we need the rent to be, you know, this much because this is what we can afford. Okay, so your name can't be on the lease. I can't report your income, you know, but that father is there contributing to that child's well-being and everything. But because it's not in writing, because it's not being reported as such, it looks like he's not.
But then that would be different because the father is present in the child's life. The child's not knowing the details that the father is absent because they're seeing or having some kind of interaction.
Right.
But
But it's just saying that that limits the
yeah.
father interaction and that leaves the control to the mother.
Mm,
She controls and determines how much she will allow him to interact with that child. So
I
if
got you.
she decides that, well, no, I only want you to see your kid once a month, then that's what happened. She's not explaining that to the child. Child does not know. The child only knows, I wish my daddy was here more often. I don't know why he's not here. You understand what I'm saying? And so, but the mother knows. The mother always knows,
Yeah.
you know. And these kind of interactions, these kinds of agreements, these kinds of intricate relations, complicated relations impact the child.
It does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
May I?
Yes. So now we're going to have Mrs. Marie Antoine Pierre, the founder and you founded and CEO of Carmel Depression Anxiety Wellness Foundation.
Yay, we got
Just
it.
yeah, yeah. I'm a little cooler now. Okay. So jump right in. Jump right in.
Hi everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Sister Flo, Sister Love. It's nice to be on this platform again with you ladies. You are always covering some important and exciting topics that are affecting, both male and women, in society. And so just to say a little bit, I've heard both of you ladies. Sometimes, just as you said, Sister Love, the mothers know why, the reason why they're not allowing certain things to happen. But I also believe that the dads also know the reason why they are boxed out, and in most cases, why they are boxed out, because it takes two to tangle, right? And things were working out well at the beginning, and then once pregnancy gets involved, sometimes the men tends to take that opportunity to want to walk
Jump
away,
ship.
and at that time, what do you leave the mothers to do, the women to do? You
I told
understand?
I told
Mm-hmm.
um
and
but
and
when those two decided to come together, and that child got conceived, like there's a whole lot of circumstances around even that.
Mhm.
So, maybe both parents didn't expect to become parents. Maybe they
Mm.
didn't, even discuss that. Maybe they just got together and whoop, there it is.
Mhm.
But all of those things factor into
Mm-hmm.
the relationship uh, that both parents have with those children.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I want to say this to to the dads. The child doesn't ask much. Spend some quality time. Take them out. It's not always about finance. You understand? While yes, everything is going up, the mother has to pay rent to keep a roof over the children's head. They have to put food on the table. They have to make sure that they're covering a whole lot of things. But it's also unfair, and I'm speaking from my past experience because I grew up in a broken home, and also I've raised my children, and in a broken home, and so I had to play dual role. I watched my mom play that role, and my sisters, thank God, we were very close, so each of us, we stepped in to support each other. But dads, man up, man up and do what's right. And take my hats off to those gentlemen who play that father figure role, to become stepdads. And I used to, growing up, I used to hear my my grandmother say that if you like the what is it, the skin, you must like the seed as well. So it comes in a package. You understand? It's not just, about me. It's about this other human being that you leaving behind. I mean, I could take this whole hour to talk about to talk about these topics. But yeah, I do think that men need to step up, and the children tend to stick on to the moms because that's who they see all the time, 24/7. You understand? And so we're asking these men to just step up and be a dad.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, for those who really can. I just wanted to share this. I remember when one of my sons, his best friend, his he and his father, the mother and father eventually divorced, but the father would co-parent. He would make sure he was there when he was going to bed, make sure certain things were happening. And my poor child, because that was his best friend, and he was over at the house and he would see these things happen. One night after we said prayers and I put him to bed, I heard crying. What happened? Seriously, I was in a I jumped out my bed and I ran. I was like, what happened? I was like, were you having a nightmare? But I was like, wait. And he was like, why can't he have his father come and tuck him into bed as well and say
Oh.
good night and then he could leave? And I was like, I was so broken. I'm not gonna lie.
Of
Like
course.
my heart felt like it shattered because my child was in pain.
Hmm.
And in pain because he's saying his dad is not putting him to bed. And I was like, so I just rubbed his head and prayed over him.
Hmm.
Seriously, I just
Hmm.
prayed.
Hmm.
And the next day he said, Mom, I really appreciate you as my mom, and I'm glad you're there. He
Oh.
said, that was really a loving thing you did. You just prayed and rubbed my head. And he was like, it made him feel better. I believe that was God who really stepped in.
Right.
But, because for me, I wasn't raised with my dad, but my dad was very much in my life.
Mm.
I also had a stepdad, and my kids have stepdad as well. Their bonus dad who, and I thank God for him. So there
Mhm.
are men who really do, and there are fathers that even when the parents, like the mothers, they're like, okay, well, we weren't going to make it, so we can't be together, but
Mhm.
they would be there for their children. And there are
Right.
those that are
Right.
there. And I say though, it makes for a healthier person. I say this all the time, and it's something I believe because I see it, I live it. It's children who are loved thrive. They only need to know they're loved.
That's it.
They
That's
don't
right.
they
That's
don't need
right.
to know about the money. You just spend
Mhm.
5 minutes, whatever. You
Mhm.
silly little things, do whatever. And it's the greatest thing for them. Like the
Mhm.
greatest.
Mhm.
So this is why we're appealing to you fathers, because as mothers who've been there and see, and mothers who've been there with children whose fathers at times weren't able to, either through divorce or whatever, be there for their children because they
Mm-hmm.
chose not to, not
Right.
because they were boxed out in any way, you know, uh but we see how it makes a difference when there's a father figure in a child's life. When a child knows that they're loved and cared for, it
Right.
makes an absolute difference. I was a teacher for how many years? I see that fathers, even I would see fathers would come, they didn't get along with the mothers, they would come, make sure they see the kid just minutes before the mother would come, and I'll see you again tomorrow. The kid was the best thing could happen to them, and they were so excited. And when their mom came, they were fine because they're like, I will see dad tomorrow. In their head, they'll see their
Mm-hmm.
dad would come to the fence and just greet them, hug them. It makes such a big difference. And those children would learn. They would be, it's their outlook on life is just totally different. So yeah, this is one of the things why I'm advocating, and we're
Very
advocating.
important.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But
And
there are some good men out there. There are
there's
some
some
good
great men.
dads out there. We just want the others to know, to step up. And if you grew up in a household where your dad was not around, most certainly you want to change that, with your child. You understand? You want to change that. You want to make a difference. You don't want your child to experience what you had experienced,
Right.
growing up.
And I
It's
have to
not
say,
easy. It's not easy, but
it's not.
it.
I wish I had some young men on here, but some of them were shy. Seriously. But I remember,
They're watching. They're
huh?
watching. They're on watching.
I remember this young man, he said to me, you know, his father was a womanizer and had several children everywhere he go. He just sow a seed and keep it moving. And he said, he will never be like that. And
Mm,
so when he gets in relationships, if he finds that it's not going to work out, he's like, listen, let's just part ways. He doesn't want to leave behind collateral damages. He's like, he doesn't want to, there are children involved, and then so
mhm.
and there are several young men that I've spoken to that have that kind of mentality because they know how they felt because their
Right.
fathers weren't in their lives.
Right.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
So
know for myself, um, I grew up, my dad wasn't in my life like he was supposed to. My mom had died when I was 7 years old. It was
Mm,
grandparents on my
mm.
father's side that raised my sister and I. And so my grandfather became my dad, and that dad figure. My uncles also stepped in and lent a hand. So, and they would, you know, speak with and get with my dad and let him know what my sister and I were going through. But I thank God for my grandfather. I thank God for my uncles
Mhm.
stood in the gap.
yeah.
Uh,
tell
and
them tell them how your grandfather would come get you when you go out.
yes, my grandfather, he, because it was my sister and I, we didn't have any brothers, and so he was protective of us. My uncles even taught my sister and I how to fight, just in case, we had to,
Defend
defend us.
yourself.
Yes, and my grandparents, they were strict with us. My grandfather would allow me to go to the party. I didn't go to my first party until I was in the 11th grade. Um, I was 16 years old, and he agreed to let me go to the party. He would drive me and my best friend, Sion, to the party, and he would tell us, okay. midnight, you either come out or I'm coming in. Really. And me and want to get out. He had special clothing that he would wear where he looked ridiculous. He had the bozo clown tie. He had the high water poly band pants. I'm aging myself, but there was a brand name pants, men's pants, band, okay? And they were polyester, okay? And he would wear those high water. He would wear all kind of colors. Nothing. He did it on purpose. And he would get dressed, and look ridiculous on purpose. And then he would drive us to the party. And he would tell us, okay, midnight, you got to come out. If you don't come out, 12:03, I'm coming in. And we were like, no, don't come in. Don't come in. Don't come in. In fact, when he drove us to the party, we would ask him to drop us off a block of not want any of our friends to see Grandpa in his ridiculous taking us to the party outfit. And we'll be in the party, we dancing and trying to have a good time, but the whole time we looking at our watch. Whole time, 11:53, we're like, let's start making it to the door because we don't want to even risk it, okay? And he would drive us to the party and he would stay parked outside a block away and he'd be looking at the watch. He'd be ready to come out and come to that door, that party, and be like,
hey.
He's and Sion here. And, me and Sion knew we would just die of embarrassment. So we made sure we was out of that party before midnight, just so that we could save our reputation.
What I love about that, what I absolutely love about that was the love that he had for you guys and the humorous way in which in order to not, he wasn't going to allow anything to happen to you guys, but
Right.
he didn't, he made it comical. So it's like, okay, they will come out because they know I'm coming in. They don't want me to come, but at the same time, he was there as a protection, your protection.
Correct.
So he was that role there. And
Yes.
and you saw the love. And I really absolutely that I had to make you tell that because I was like, that's just, to show how fathers can sometimes do, I've seen fathers who walked behind their children when the child thought they were walking all alone and they were walking in back, and so, simple things that fathers do make a big and lasting
a big difference.
And it changes the way that child will parent when they become an adult, whether they're female or male.
Right.
It's so true. Because my uncles were there. I mean, they stepped up, in me and my sister's lives, even when my dad was like totally unavailable by choice. And so when I had gotten to the point where my children's father and we were divorcing and, parting ways. And because he wasn't there, like his kids needed him to be, I called on all of their uncles.
Oh, wow.
Meeting with their godfathers. Children, all of them had godfathers. I just rounded up the village and I'm like, look, I got 5 boys that I'm going to raise to be men. And I need some male figures in their lives. And I have to say, godfathers stepped up. Uncles stepped up. Even male teachers stepped up and stepped in. Basketball coaches stepped up and stepped in so that my sons did not in any good thing. And the Lord blessed me to be able to get married again. And so my sons even had a bonus that, with an additional bonus uncle,
Yeah. Now,
and so,
you know what? I like what you said because I didn't have the uncles. I really didn't call on the uncles. Matter of fact, I know there was an uncle. But anyway, I didn't okay, fine. But guess what? My kids absolutely had uncles, but they
yes,
because
God,
I was
uncle,
in the church, right?
yes,
And let me tell you this. I'll never forget this. It was a family life day, and the pastor was a visiting pastor, and he made this comment. And I'm not gonna lie, I picked up my little people used to say my pocketbook and wallet and whatever, and I just walked out with them. Why? Because he said this. He said children who don't have a father in the home are going to go to jail. And I'm like, you're not pronouncing that over my children. So I said that they will not go to jail in Jesus' name. I was like, it was not an uplifting sermon or words of encouragement. So I picked up my children. I walked out as he was speaking because I'm like, no, I took them home and I prayed over them. But what I remembered was there was a gentleman at the church and he had given me a ride. He was like, why are you leaving? Where are you going? He followed after me and then he gave us a ride home. And I told him why. And he said, don't worry, we're here. The church is here for you. And he's now deceased, Brother Roberts. May his soul rest in peace. There was Brother St. Louis. May his soul rest in peace. And of course, there's Uncle Linville and Uncle Carl. Uncle Carl is my daughter's godfather. And Uncle Linville, from the time I got to the church, he's been there in my children's life. And so there were, they had them. And then, as you said, then God bless me, with the bonus dad. And man, I tell you, to
Mm.
God be the glory.
Amen, amen. Well, we didn't have we didn't have the male figure in our lives. Fortunately, my mom only had girls, but one thing for sure, my sisters, they stepped up. They played the role. They were uncles, aunties,
They protected.
that brother in my life that I needed because anything that happened, they were ready. They would take that baseball bat. They were ready to go. Yes, and so yeah, so we're very thankful for that, and we're teaching my
So
son.
question, Marie. So
Mhm.
you guys were close knit.
We were very yes, we were very close. Thank God for that. Mhm.
And
man,
that's the other thing. Sometimes the absence of a father allows the siblings to bond even greater. And Marie, our hearts are with you because she lost two of her sisters, but God is with you. Yeah.
Two, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. And they also play that the younger siblings also play that parenting role, as you had said, Sister Flo earlier, because the mom have to go out. They have to go to work. They have to make sure that they're keeping everything on the table for sure. And my little sister, my baby sister, she always says to us, our mom was not she was a provider and not a nurturer. And imagine, didn't quite understand it before, but when we became parents, and it took me a while to see that, and then I also went into my culture because I was born in Haiti but raised up here, came up here since I was 5, 6 years old. And so my mom, she didn't know then how to give love to us other than being that provider. Does she have time to tell us she love us? No, she is now practicing that with her grandchildren. You understand? With her grandchildren. But then as I became older and going into my Haitian community and meeting other people, I come to realize that our parents, during that era, they did not receive that nurturing love either. And so they don't know how to express that. Whereas growing up, I didn't have a good relationship with my mom because she never called me, told me she loved me. She never, but she certainly made sure that I was on point with my part. I made sure that I went to school, made sure that she provided. She was doing 2 3 jobs, you understand? She had to hold down the household. But and so um it's tough, and I want to tell these women out there as well, and I mean women, I'm saying seasoned women, down to young women. And I'm speaking to the seasoned women because a lot of us didn't have that role model in our lives, you understand, to to teach us, to give us that guidance that we needed, you understand. Whereas now I'm serving every young woman I know, every women that I know too. I speak to them. You understand? Share the word of God, share, and empower them. So we
Yes.
didn't have that back in the days. You understand? And so it's very well, at least I did it. So
May I say this? I'm interjecting.
mhm,
Let go back to you. I think parents that are closer to slavery, because remember, it was if they showed affection, the 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 the
mm,
slave owners would then
mhm,
sell them or move them around, separate, you know,
mhm,
divide and conquer was the theme of the day. And so I find
right,
that a lot on only those who tried to break out of the mold, I think if they realized they were truly free, because it's something that I notice have been practiced by the
mhm,
closer the generations are to those who were slaves, there is less they're not very overly affectionate, they don't show affection.
right, right,
It's like they feel that, well, I'll provide for you, I'll care for you, I'll make sure you're clean, you have something to eat, and
mhm,
that's saying I love you, right?
right,
But
right.
if you ever notice, I remembered even when I got married and I went to I would hug my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, and they would just stand there stiff because they were not used to, like, what is this? But then
Mhm.
they loved it. They grew to like just like
Right, right.
yeah. So and
Brush it off and let's
I
keep it
found
pushing.
many older people, like when you go to hug them, they're like, no, and I'm like, no, and then they learn to appreciate it because but
Hmm.
it's something that it took me a while to notice, and then realizing how a history and how as slaves, especially in our diaspora and our BIPOC
That's right.
communities
Right.
especially. Mm.
Absolutely. And so,
And even though wait and even though the women would have numerous children, many of them would have numerous children, you still didn't see that. So it's they were very prolific, I guess, because they had nothing else to do. But
hmm
then still they would, it's like display of affection would be
right, they were very rigid, very rigid. Not that they didn't love us, but they
exactly.
didn't know how to express it. And so, yeah, so we learn from each other. And I want to also, as I'm speaking to the women, the seasoned women, as well as the young women's out there, set boundaries, know your values and set boundaries. You understand? If you for whatever reason, you and your significant other or your husband, don't get along, um, if you're co-parenting, it's all about the kids. Set your boundaries. And we're all adults here. I know that y'all understand where I'm going with this and what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Set your boundaries. Okay, don't leave your doors open because for the burglars to come in and feel like it's okay. They could come anytime. You understand? And so yeah. But other than that, um, you know, our children, we have to continue to give them love and make sure that we're doing the, the very best that we can for them.
Yeah. And for those of us who now know that we're free, we can exhibit love and we can display
Mhm.
love and we can show and we need to show our children. And I know there are a lot of grandparents who gladly show the grandchildren. It's like making up for what they didn't do with the children. And
Yes, yes.
I've heard so many adults say, why does my mom love my child so much but never showed me? Like I've heard that being said. And you just have to say, well, they're making
It's
up. But they love you
it's
too.
the
They
truth.
love you too. They love you too.
It's the truth. It's the
It's just
truth.
one of those things. What you
Because
say?
we see that, and when we're talking to our children about our mom, they be looking at us like we're crazy. You talk about my grandma, because it's a
Right?
different relationship.
Right? Yeah.
Right. It's a
Listen,
different type of relationship.
I remembered telling my mom some stories that my grandmother told me about herself, right? And like about her love life. She goes, "What? Of course they weren't going to tell the children that. They were not. They weren't. But they will tell the grandkids, of course, because it's a whole different, like and you think about it, that's their child. And so I think they didn't want to be, I think it was about respect more. And so they didn't want to
Mhm.
be looked down on in the eyes of their children. So they didn't want to be disrespected. So if anything within their lives would make it seem like they didn't want their children to know. And
Mhm.
how many
Mhm.
adults don't even know family history?
Right.
That's another
Mhm.
piece that we
Mhm.
could do maybe during Black History Month.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we're so accustomed to watching the matriarchs in our family, the women, matriarchs in our family. They and I have to give them a shout out to them as well, because
strong.
they are really strong. Going through
Yep.
the slavery experience, they are really strong. They had to watch, their husbands being raped, their children's being, being slaughtered, and they just
And
had
them
to
being raped.
fight,
Them being
wipe
raped
it,
too.
camouflage it, and keep it pushing. And so shout out to, to the sisters out there. But
Yeah.
to our fellow brothers, please step up and do your part. Just do your part. Be there,
Yeah, be
for
there.
them.
And so Marie, please tell us about and invite the folks because folks have to register. Whether they call in about the workshop that's coming up starting
Mhm.
July 2nd, which is right around the corner. It's like
Right
what,
around the
next week or
corner. We're
the
2 weeks
weekend?
away. We're very excited, with this with this blessing. We're very excited that the Book and Public Library is also, excited to have us back on board. The program was very successful, and so yeah, so we're starting back again. It's a 6-week free Let's Talk Mental Health Empowerment Summer Clinic. We're covering 6 topics where it will allow the participants to be able to receive all the education and also the entertaining tools and resources they would need, to help them with their challenges and how to cope. There are assistants out there. You can live a healthy lifestyle, okay? And I'm gonna always continue to say this. It's okay to talk about your mental status, okay? We're not crazy. We're individuals going through life situations, and some of us are able to handle it better than others. What is not healthy is not speaking about it and getting the assistance that you need from mental health professionals in order to help you get to that, to that space, that healthy space that you need to be. And so, Sister Love, I'm very excited that this year you're going to be joining us to cover the coping with grief session. We kind of changed it up a bit with two of these sessions, the topics that we had last year. So the first session will be introduction to mental health, and that is going to be covered by NAMI, and so we're very excited for that. The second session, we decided to not call it. a specific title, but keep it as community resource session, and we will reach out to different organizations, different institutions. So last year we did financial literacy. This year, we're going to bring on board FDC, Flatbush Development Corp. They decided to come on board as well when we reached out to them. They're going to be providing a lot of resources and information regarding housing, okay, and all of these different topics, coping with grief. We're doing mental maternal morbidity slash postpartum depression, which is also a very important topic. And we do have um, a presenter that's going to come out to speak to these individuals as well. The fifth week, we're going to let the participants do a freestyle where they can express their mental thoughts. Last year we did it through painting, drawing, and writing. So we got to step it up a bit. This year we're going to allow them to do it through vision boards. So we'll provide them with all the materials. They will express their thoughts, and then the last session, which is the 6th week, August 6th, they are going to at the culmination of the event, we're going to have a celebration to celebrate the participants. They will then express, share their
Showcase,
vision
yeah.
board. So we're really excited about it. So yes, it's very important for everyone have to be 18 and older for you to participate. Those are the requirements, and you must register because seating is limited. And so you must register. If you go on our website, um, our social media pages at carmels.dorf, you'll see the flyer on there. There's a QR code, and it's very simple to register. Click on that QR code, and it will take you directly to the registration form. And you just, complete that form, and then we'll be ready to go. Also, you can also go on our Instagram page and our link in our bio. The link is there as well. You could just click on that. Okay, open up and a new address, URL, and just register. Okay, we're looking for everyone to come out. Yes, and everyone is able to participate. Just know that seatings are limited. The library are also registering. So if anyone is in the neighborhood, you could stop by the Book and Public Library Cortelyou branch and register for any one of those programs as well. All right, we're really excited about that. So this is one of the many programs that CDORF is working together in collaboration with our local and external partners. We're doing a lot of networking. We're moving along. We're moving along. But we just want everyone to know that we care about you. Please make sure that you take care of your mental health. Okay,
Yeah.
it is just as important as your physical health.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I want to say last year, the very day that we had our session on grief was the very day one of our young board members had passed away.
Mhm.
And so we had our council member came, and quite a bit of folks came. And what's her name again? From
Council member Rita Joseph,
yeah, but from School District 17.
Dr.
Uh,
Castro,
Dr. Castro,
Dr. Evelyn Castro, yes.
yeah, she was there. And, other elected officials came in because everybody knew Dwayne. And so we had just heard that he passed away. And like, lo and behold, it was the very same day that the session on grief was being held. So we were
Right.
able to just sit there together, and, some were in shock because it was shock. It was a shock.
Right.
It really was a shock. And
Mhm.
so, but it was very cathartic just knowing that we were there. So
Right.
this year we're looking forward to Reverend Love doing, what she does best, and presenting for that workshop.
Yes,
And,
and also
go ahead.
and also Reverend Love will be surprising us at the culminating ceremony. She'll be surprising us with her, her
Yeah,
dance
there's going to be a
performance.
surprise.
Yeah.
You have to come. You have to come.
And I
Don't tell
also
them.
want to say thank you to Metro Plus Health, who's always there to support us as
Yes.
well, and many other,
Kings County was
organizations.
there. And what was the name of the bank again? I don't know. There
Oh,
were
Ponce Bank, yeah,
Ponce
last year
Bank. So
Ponce
there are many
Bank was there.
stakeholders who
Oh
do
yes.
come through. And Dr. Was council member from Canarsie?
Oh, Councilmember Mercedes Narcisse, yes.
Council member Mercedes
She was there
Narcy.
as well. I
Um,
reached out to Assembly Member Rita Joseph, Assembly Member Rodney Bichart's office, but unfortunately she won't be able to cover the topic that we would
okay.
want her to, because she's preparing for her bar. So she,
Yes.
shout
Yes.
out to her.
Yes.
She's a lawyer now,
Congratulations,
you know.
council member, assembly member
Yes,
Rodney's
even now.
Bichat
So she's
Fermelin.
unable
Yeah.
to do that. And so we're hoping in the near future, because that particular topic, maternal morbidity, is very near and dear to her, because that was her firsthand experience for her, as
Yeah.
she had
She
lost
lost her
her
first.
her
Yeah.
first child through
Yeah.
um malpractice, right? And
Eh,
so
yeah.
yes, she's a big advocate for that. And so
Yeah. I think she has a
where
bill. She has a bill
yes, she has
out.
a bill
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
Yes,
that
she
she
Yeah.
does.
has passed.
Yeah, and it's
And
it's
so,
something that we really need to I had as one of the co-chairs of human services for Community Board 14. By the way, please go to CB14 Brooklyn YouTube channel and you'll find the series there. We had a doctor from Methodist Hospital, and something that I learned that since 2020 this has really shocked me that maternal morbidity has gone up. It's increased.
mm,
I was like, wait a minute. I thought it would be getting less. And
mm,
what we also found out is that hospitals in areas that are considered to be poor have higher rates. So there's a lot to be, yeah. Tune in,
yeah,
guys. And
tune in.
go to CB14's websites. There
Website.
are jobs being posted. Carmel's flyers are
Mm-hmm,
there, and
mm-hmm.
anything that is going on within our
We're
district
in our
is
district and
there.
community. Thank you
Please,
so much.
and
Thank you
and a
so much,
lot of
Sister Flo.
information is out there. Your libraries in whatever communities you live have a lot of
Mm-hmm,
information as
mm-hmm.
well. So go to the libraries as well. They were giving out passports if you visited every single library in Brooklyn. Um,
Yeah,
and a library passport, that is not a traveling passport, but a library passport, which was a
right.
and so we just
In
we're
state.
here, we're here, and Wake the Nation, Reverend Thais, therapist Love will tell you it was born because there's a need, and we just wanted to address many issues that were not being addressed in certain communities, and to get those who can address issues, if they can make it to come on to discuss topics, so that we're here doing what we can for our society, for our communities,
Mm-hmm.
and
Community.
our communities extend beyond where we live, where it's not limited. We're on the internet. So it's to help our diasporas, help our BIPOC communities, help those who are in need of help. And that's what we're here for. That's why we always have, whatever resources that we are aware of, we share those, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I want you to please tune in. Come join us, register early because seats are limited, you heard. And
Yes.
so to um, uh, Thais Love will be hosting a workshop, and we'll have a surprise at the end. We're not
A
telling you what the
surprise,
surprise is, but you
a
need to tune
surprise
in.
performance.
And
Yes.
I want to say, I want to thank Marie, who has, her hands full, and but does a lot for the community. And there are more to come, probably next year by the grace of God.
Yes. Amen.
But she wants our community to be well, and so we're here working together, for this benefit, because we see too many people losing their minds and not being stigmatized, even in the church. And this is why we wanted to no longer be something, if you're unwell and you have a
Mhm.
cold or you're not well or you're in pain, no one says, oh my God. No, it's like you go to the doctor. So here we're finding a place. like
That
like
is
folks
the truth.
stressed out. Listen,
Mhm.
the higher the office, the more responsibility there is. Our elected officials were there testifying how they benefited from being, seriously, and there were others.
Yeah.
And our police officers, our emergency responders. You think about it, everyone has every responsibility in this stress.
Correct. Correct.
So we need
Absolutely.
to lower those cortisol levels. And what I love last year, and I must share this, is that there were clinicians who taught how to, if you're having an anxiety attack or you feel yourself going into depression, because these are things you can feel. And as a Christian, I must say they're spiritual. However, there are physical things you can do to ground yourself,
Yes.
to be aware, and so that you don't fall and sink into a place that wasn't meant for you to go in the first place.
That's
An
correct.
enemy
That's
to our
correct.
souls who hates us all.
Hmm.
That's what
That's
it's all about.
absolutely
Yeah.
right.
But there is a lover of our soul, Jesus. And so
Amen.
to God be the
And his
glory.
name is God.
Right? Amen. So any closing words, Marie, and then uh
Mhm.
Miss
I just want to share, always want to share a little bit of my story. If you notice when I'm speaking, I will say we, because I'm speaking to the individuals in the mental health community, because I myself suffer with depression and anxiety. And so I want them to know that they are not alone. Okay. And so, yes, I am there to help them, to guide them. And so please do not be ashamed. Feel free to contact us. Our number is right here, cdorf.org. You can reach us on our website. You can also reach us on our social media pages at carmels.dorf. Okay, for you to be able, and everything is private. Please, we do not speak on anyone's situation. They
Mm-mm.
are kept very privately. And one of the things that we do as we are serving, we do have a future goal. You have your short-term goal, your long-term goals. We do have a long-term goal, but in the meantime, we are working very closely with community organizations. Sister Love is one, and we are here to connect. If you need a therapist, you need a
Yes,
psychiatrist,
there's
you
one.
need a counselor, we are here to connect you with those individuals. So please, 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 by all means, know that we love you, we appreciate you, and we're gonna get through this together. And
Yes.
along on my mission, very short, I'm gonna go real quick. Along what as I'm walking my journey and on my path, um, that has also driven me to write a book. I am now a new published author,
Yes.
and we'll talk about that. That's for another session.
Yes,
We'll
I'll
talk
bring you
about
back.
that.
I'll bring
But
you
the
back in
book
the
is
summer.
on Amazon. It's called Buzz Off Funk. I got this mind recipes for mental health. It's a
Amen.
it's a work guide for to help you navigate through your mental thoughts. Okay.
Amen.
Thank you, and I'm
Amen.
looking forward. We're looking forward to seeing you on July
Yes.
2nd.
Yes.
Okay.
July
Thank
2nd
you.
through August 6th. It's every Tuesday.
Yes,
Every
for
Tuesday
six
from the
Tuesdays.
2nd through the
Yes,
6th.
from
Only
July
Tuesday.
2nd to August 6th. Mm-hmm.
Yes. All
Sister
right.
Love, bring somebody, share it, post it on your on your website, on
Six
your
sessions.
social media pages. Yeah,
Yeah. Send her
Don't do it.
the
I did. She has
okay.
everything.
Oh, and also send me the link where they can register. So I'll put it in the chat box.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I'll definitely
Yeah.
do that.
Thank you, Marie, for coming on. And
You're welcome.
uh,
Thank you for
like
having us.
we're sorry we didn't get to hear from Reverend Shannon. However, God allowed it to flow anyway. So to God be the glory. Um,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So Reverend Love, your closing thoughts and
I just want to to thank Miss Marie for her wonderful and insightful comments. Also, thank her for the upcoming workshops that Seedorf is launching. Um, Also, thank her for making those connections um, with community organizations and the like, so that everyone will have the sunshine of opportunity to get the help.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you. I want to also thank my lovely co-host,
Yay.
Valencia Chang-Ageda, for again, uh, making sure that we wake the nation and
Mhm.
talk about
And tell the people, right?
yes. Now we talk about the pertinent talking topics that inquiring minds need to know. Okay, and I mean the Lord has brought Wake the Nation a mighty, mighty long way, and the Lord truly picks the topics,
He does.
and He's faithful and um insightful, and brings out the resources and the information that's needed to share with his people. So thank you so much
Thank you,
uh
Sister Flo.
inviting me to be the co-host. I'm so happy to be here. Um, but once again, ladies, it has been an awesome pleasure. For you out there, we pray that something was said, something was lifted up that might resonate with you in a insightful and meaningful way. If you have questions, comments, be sure to place them in the chat. Uh, Both Reverend Chang-Ageda and myself, we check those chats and we love, love, love to respond and converse and interact with you all. So please feel free to drop us a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Um, and you know, help that this assists us in making sure that this information gets out um, and is readily accessible to everyone. I am Tahis Love of Dudamis Sound Mind Service.
Sound Fine
We
Service.
help you be a better you with power, love, and a sound mind.
Amen.
If I can help you in any kind of way, with services, workshops, speaking engagements, you need me to show up. I will do that because I'm here for you. Feel free to uh, give me a call at 718-576-8110. You can email me at dunamissoundmind at gmail.com. Dunamis Sound Mind is one word, all lowercase. Or you can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can also find me right here on Wake the Nation.
Wake the Nation.
That's right. That's right. You can
Yay.
find us on
Oh,
Wake the Nation
Wake the
once a month.
Nation.
that's right. And be sure to share this video with friends, loved ones, those who may benefit from the information that was shared here. And don't forget to come out to the Cortelyou Library every Tuesday from July 2nd all the way to August 6th.
Thanks. Yes.
And partake in the wonderful workshops and things that are being presented and are being made available for you. And so come on out. These workshops are readily brought to you by Cedar.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm doing a commercial. I don't know.
You're
I'm
doing great. You're doing great.
doing great.
great. Um, and that's Reb saying Agita's fault, that's her fault.
Yes.
A couple of years ago. Look, you need to be on. And I'm so grateful to her. But thank you all so much. And don't forget to like and share, subscribe, and comment and all that good stuff. Have a good and until we're here.
Yes. Yes, I want to thank my beautiful co-host and my beautiful friend and sister, the CEO and founder of CEDA, Cardinal Depression Anxiety Wellness
Love, much love,
Foundation.
much love.
And so I want to thank you ladies for all you do for our communities. And these ladies are very active in our communities. Believe I don't even know where they find time. Do y'all sleep? Okay. We know how it is, right? When we're out there.
Yes.
And we're giving service first and foremost for God. So we do what the Lord would have us to do. And we do care about folks within our community. And we know that mental wellness is not something that people like to talk about, but it's something that absolutely needs to be. If our
That's
minds
right.
aren't well, our bodies aren't well. And if our bodies aren't well, our minds aren't well. And then things break down from there. So let's take care of our minds, our bodies, and our holistic well-being. I want to thank you, ladies, for tuning in and for sharing the information and the resource and sharing yourself, and looking forward to the workshops. And as both ladies said, please remember to register. I'm going to
Yes.
put the information in the chat, but you can also call up the Cortell
Yeah.
Library
Okay.
branch there, and you can register there as well.
Right.
Uh, there will be a lot of resources, a lot of information. There were a lot given at the last one. It was very successful. We displayed our art at the library, and folks were willing to share what they wrote,
Yes.
to share
Yes.
what they drew. And yeah, I painted.
You did. You did.
Yeah, so some of us painted. Her husband drew, uh, and it was very therapeutic, guys. Believe it
Very.
or not. So you may think it boxes you in, but no, it liberates you. It sets you
Right.
free. You're being given tools of what to look for, because sometimes you are not aware that you're even going through something. You know you don't feel optimally well, but you can't put a finger on it. But then when you come to a workshop like that, you will learn
Mm-hmm.
something new. And I always find that when we are informed, we can then make better decisions. When we know the things we don't know, we can't address, but what we do know, we can. And it's
Correct.
best to be informed. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
please tune in, join us on coming this July 2nd and through August 6th. And thank you all for tuning in and listening. And as my co-host and my friend have said, share. And I will say, not just share to those you think might need it, because how many times have you received something someone shared in their timeline, and you're like, whoa, I needed to hear this.
Yes.
So, we just need to share, because you never know who needs what.
You never
Sometimes there's
know.
people
Mm-hmm.
who are struggling silently, as I said.
Yes.
When one feels mentally unwell, it's even in the church, on the
Yes.
job, in many high places. You
Many
see
high
folks and they don't
places.
want to say anything because they're going to be looked at cross-eyed and stigmatized. So, but when they know and can take care of it, and we have to
Mhm.
remove that, because we need to be a
That's right.
better function in society. So thank you all for tuning in. We
And we
do.
want to thank you as well, Sister Flo. Thank you. We love you. We appreciate you for all the great things that you're doing in the communities as well. We
Thank,
really appreciate you.
thank
It's
you.
touching everyone. We may not see it, but trust and believe.
To God be
We're,
the glory.
yes, we're making changes. We're impacting by the grace of God.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen. All right, ladies.
All
So
right.
have a wonderful night.
You
And thank you
too.
all for joining me.
Thanks. Bye,
So
everyone.
we'll see some of you in September because we're on hiatus for the month of July and August. However, I will make an exception, and there are a couple of people that I will do something different. It will be a showcase. So we'll showcase Marie's book, and there is a young lady who has a business, so we're going to showcase her as well, and
Okay,
whoever
thank
else.
you. Thank you.
All
Yeah, we
right?
appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Good night. Love you
Have a
guys.
lovely evening.
All right. You too. All righty. Okay.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Love.
ladies.
All right.